So preparation for NCQA, what should they, well, you mentioned policies and procedures. Um, what else would you have to have in place? I know with credentialing, you really need to have your files in place, but other items, what else would they be looking for? Or how would you want to prepare what you're going to submit? What kind of advice would you give someone? Because I know if they're not used to it, it's going to seem overwhelming.
Sure,
What,
sure. Yeah.
um, yeah.
So I think that, really the foundation of what NCQA looks for are definitely, as you mentioned, policies and procedures. So what they have different data sources, and the primary one I would say is documented processes. So that can be in the form of policies and procedures, standard operating procedures, desk procedures, workflows, any type of written documentation that will tell NCQA what it is you do and how you do it. Then the other data sources are such things as reports and materials, and then I'll get into files in a minute. But reports, the different standards have different reports. So they might be like ongoing monitoring logs, your sanctions monitoring, your complaint reports, your adverse event reports. Reports can also include credentialing committee minutes. So those are very important to keep good minutes. And one thing I like to tell my clients is document who says what. You can use initials, you can, not include the actual names of the providers, but at the top of your minutes, include their specialties and their titles. You want to have practicing providers on your committee. You want to have those that are actually practicing in your network, in your committee. It can't just be internal staff. So you really want to document very good minutes. Those will be provided as evidence, especially for credentialing. They really want to see that you are using a thoughtful process when you're reviewing those credentials of practitioners, and those practicing providers are weighing in on that, and you're having good discussions as to whether or not you should allow practitioners in your network or allow them to continue practicing. Mm-hmm. Other data sources they will review are materials. Those could be like practitioner letters, newsletters, emails, the practitioner rights statements that you send out, provider manuals. And then when you get into delegation, that refers to usually the contracts. So the delegation contracts have to have very specific language in them. So those kind of need to be reviewed right up against the standards. And then, as you mentioned, files. So file review is something that, NCQA they'll request in advance of the survey, the on-site survey, they will request your files, the file universe. They will then pull a random sample from that, and they will review both initial credentialing and re-credentialing files. And they will look for all the different verification sources, that you're using the appropriate sources, and that you're documenting them appropriately, and that you're meeting the appropriate timeframes. So that will be your file review. And that's why I say it's so important to get in compliance prior to your 6 months, because once that 6-month period, you're in that look back period, they can pull any file randomly from during that 6-month time frame. And file review is considered like a must-pass element. It's very important to the scoring of the accreditation. So you want to really make sure that you've got all your processes in line, and you know what sources you're using, appropriate sources, and you're meeting your timeframes.
Awesome. Thank you. That was very comprehensive. I like that.